Hey folks, it's producer Parker here of Kansas City with Jason Nivens. Today's episode is brought to you by Border Brewing Company, and you're really going to get to know all about the Border Brewing world. Owner and founder of Border Brewing, Eric Martens, and manager Mark Garringer sit down with Jason to hop all over everything in the brewing business, from making brews to fixing loos. The Prince of Possum Trot, the mayor of Gullytown, a KC kid. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to Kansas City with Jason Nivens.
Hey guys.
What's up? What's going on?
I think that it's only fitting that as I'm returning back my podcast, this is the second one in a row, and both of them now have featured Border Brewing.
I see what you're doing.
I see what you're doing. Just trying to angle for some product placement, maybe a little bit of,
That's fine.
You got like a monthly thing here at Border. People, what is it, $20 a month?
Yeah. We got a membership. So $20 a month gets you a free beer every week.
And a free sixer once a month.
That's right.
Dude, that's not bad at all. So I guess I should start off by having you guys introduce yourselves. Tell the fine folks who you are. I'll start with you since you are the sole proprietor of this establishment.
Yeah. I'm Eric Martens, and I'm the owner and founder of Border Brewing Company. We started in 2015 after I quit my engineering job in 2014.
No pressure. No pressure.
A little bit.
11 years, though. You just hit the 11-year mark last month, right?
That's right. Yeah. February.
2 months ago. We're now in April, aren't we? Yeah.
11 years. Yep.
Yeah. As of this recording, we're in April. I think it's rolling out in May. And then Mark, what are you doing here, bud?
My name is Mark Garringer. I am the brewer here, the manager. I'm a maintenance guy if you need me. Janitor. Whatever else.
Sanitation engineer,
professional janitor. Pretty much. I think a lot of brewers just call themselves that nowadays.
Now I know this is Eric. I think this is our, for all intents and purposes, our third interview together, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we did it twice on the radio.
Yep.
And then now here. The first two times you were down the street, and that was the first 5 years of Border or 6 years?
That was 2015 through, we officially closed in the spring of 2021 at the old location. So 6 years there.
Yeah.
And then it took us, about another 8 or 9 months to reopen in the new location.
So you had some downtime.
We did.
Oh, wow.
In 2021, when the pandemic was over, and there's a lot of business to be had. So it was unfortunate timing for that, but it was great timing for us just in terms of our growth, and we're really happy with where we're at now. So.
I mean, it's a great place. I think full disclosure for those that don't know, I do bartend here a time or two. Spin some records a time or two, drink some of the beer a time or two. But I mean, when you look at like the trajectory of Border, and you look at some of these other places that are still running, other than like the notable big dog of Kansas City, quote unquote, craft brewers being Boulevard, we are pretty one of the early ones, right? We
were the first brewery to open a tap room in the Crossroads and in Kansas City, Missouri proper.
Oh, wow.
When we opened, Cinder Block and Big Rip had just opened in North KC. Right. Big Rip, of course, is no longer around now, but Cinder Block is. And that was about it. We had KC Beer Co. out south that was doing distribution. But as far as the taproom only model that we see in a lot of places now, we were the first one to do it down here. So it's changed a lot in the last decade for sure.
Oh yeah.
A lot of ups and downs. My wife and I lived in the Crossroads. We were living in the Western Auto Building, and we love to just bar hop and kind of hop around down here. And at the same time, I was business planning and seeing this need for that type of thing. Not a restaurant, not a big distribution brewery per se, but just a community brewery tap room. Having visited other cities that had a lot of that, Denver and Portland and
Omaha at one point had more breweries than Kansas City did at one point. I remember going up there years ago, and they had 8 or 9 breweries, and we were only sitting at like 3 or 4. And I was just kind of beside myself to like.
So in like 2012, 2013, we were kind of seeing this, and I'm like, this is going to happen. It's a matter of are we going to be a part of it or not? So it wasn't so much paving the way as it was just seeing the need for this thing in Kansas City that was definitely going to happen, and kind of jumping on it early. And I feel like getting in the right neighborhood down here in the Crossroads early helped us a lot too. So
yeah, because you got to figure that time you had grinders around here. They're an OG for sure, and then not a whole lot of other things really. I think we're I mean, other than like the First Fridays art walks that were obviously big and going on, but in terms of like
the brick, the brick's been there forever. Shout out to the brick, our first account and one of my favorite places and favorite people down here.
We love Sherry
Parr. Yeah,
it's always a good spot to go to. Now, when did you bring Mark on board, and are you happy with that decision? If you want to wink at me over here, tell me otherwise.
Yeah, so Mark came on. It's been a little over 2 years now, right?
2 years now. Yeah.
When we had some staffing changes after moving into the new location, and I was looking for new brewing help, and Mark was leaving a previous position, and it was one of those things that worked out. Couldn't have worked out any better.
Couldn't have worked out any better.
Serendipity.
Yeah.
Actually, Jessica Bloom was the one that kind of like go talk to Martens, and it just
So we had a taproom manager. So, I mean, I'll just go full disclosure on this. When we moved locations, we expanded, bought new equipment, expanded into a bigger space. I had projections on what I was expecting coming out of the pandemic, and the recovery from that was a lot slower than I think everybody anticipated.
Yeah, right.
Which was painful. And that meant hard conversations with the staff I had and having to cut back hours and telling people like, this is what I need. This is what needs to happen in order for the business to be sustainable.
Sure.
Yep. And if you need to go find another better paying job, or you need to find another thing, I would totally understand. And so Jess Bloom is one of those people. And she ended up deciding to go find work elsewhere and is doing really well now. And I'm super proud of her, and we stay in touch. And
I think she still comes through.
She's still around. No ill will at all.
I'm pretty sure I've seen her in here.
It was hard in the sense that this is what had to happen for the business. And I think we all understood that. So we kind of had to cut things back a little bit in order to survive in that period in like 21 and 22. And kind of through all that, ultimately, we started to kind of get things back, and then found Mark at a time where he was looking for a new position, and it just really worked out. The things that I needed as things were starting to pick back up here were exactly what he was equipped to do, and he just jumped in and hit the ground running, and relieved a lot of pressure for me.
And that's got to be a good feeling for you to know, like
I came from
upward trajectory, right?
Yes, and it was a weird time because I didn't know if I was going to keep doing it, and I almost got burned out from the previous thing I had done, but that's some things that me and Martin had kind of seen eye on. We're like, oh my God, this might work out really perfect.
And it did. And how long have you been brewing, Mark?
Oh man, I've been professionally
I met you at a
brewing.
previous brewery, and that was ages ago.
Yeah, I've been professionally brewing. 7 years. 7 years now.
Okay.
I homebrewed for a while, obviously Martens did, and a lot of the brewers in Kansas City, I feel like, that's how a lot of us got started, was homebrewing.
That's kind of like how you have to cut your teeth, right? Is by homebrewing.
It's the smarter way, I feel like.
It's the cheaper way. There's formal schooling, and that was sort of the more traditional route. Anymore,
there's schooling out there?
Yeah. So there are a couple of big schools. I think I have this right. There's one in UC Davis, and then there's the Siebel Institute that have the more formal brewery training that you can go through. Anymore, I would encourage people. I mean, that works if you're wanting to work for one of the bigger breweries. I think it's a good resume builder. Yeah. But I tell people, like, if you want to go work for a brewery, figure out a day a week where you can volunteer your time and just show up and be like, how can I help? Teach me how to clean kegs, start with the grunt work, and you're going to start learning a lot of valuable skills. And these breweries, like, we all need help. You know, it's nobody's making a ton of money. Nobody's just, so we can all use that extra help. And I'm not just saying that as the owner, like, we would love free labor, right? But it's I've had a
paid
couple,
in beer. Hold on,
I've had a couple people that come and do that for a few months, and then they go, okay, now I want to go find a job. I'm like, great, I'll write you a reference. And that's because if you just show up and say, hey, I want to brew, there are a lot of people that want to brew beer, but you got to get that experience. And the other part of it too is you get to learn if you really want to do it, because there's this idea of what brewing beer is like, and then there's the reality of it, which is a lot of cleaning.
A lot of cleaning. Yes.
A lot of hard work.
Yep.
And a lot of not so glorious tasks that have to get done.
If I remember, Mark, I think it was yesterday you were fixing a toilet. So
yeah,
as a guy that's
what I said. Man,
you clean your hands before you brew the beer, of course. But yes,
yeah, right, yeah. Ice machine in a couple weeks. I mean, it's also nice to learn those things because then like, how much time can I spend on this before I have to hire someone to actually come in and do it? And then there's always me and him are always like, all right, if we spent this much time on it, might be time to bring in a professional and fix something like that. But
learning how to fix things is part of the job. Right? I mean, as much as you can, you're saving money and saving time. And
was that the biggest surprise, I think, for you, like getting into being an owner of a brewery? How much DIY mechanical mumbo jumbo you'd have to take on?
I think I expected a little bit of that from my engineering background, just because I was kind of used to designing things that failed, equipment and stuff. So, it's just expected that's going to happen. And we have some spare parts for that reason. I've kind of that's kind of my training. It's like, hey, this is a
mild hoarder.
This is a $300 thing that can really screw us up if it goes down. So let's buy 2 of them, a lot of that kind of stuff that really helps. I think the biggest surprise for me was just how much goes into making this a functional, profitable business that goes beyond how good your beer is.
Right.
I think everybody comes in. A lot of people come in thinking, especially like I did, very green, home brewer, just starting his first business. Well, my beer's really good. People are going to love it. They're going to keep coming back for it. And if that were the case, I don't think Bud Light would be making any money.
Right.
So there's just so much more to it in terms of marketing and where your position is, and are you getting a community built around what you're doing, especially for a brewery our size. And I think those are the things that we're doing really well now in the last couple of years, especially that make me really excited for what's ahead for us.
Well, I think the community aspect's pretty spot on. When I love when we get people that are in from out of town. You talk to them and they're in from Milwaukee, or they're in from Seattle, or they're down from Minneapolis or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, we're just we're one and done. We're kind of bouncing around, and then they start listening to Harrison doing trivia with somebody at the bar, or Jackie having a conversation, just came in talking with Jason about something else. And these are all just various people that I see regularly at the brewery. And then they're like, well, maybe I'll stick around for one more. There's no sense. There's no denying that there's like and I joked about before, like a Cheers sort of atmosphere that's been created here.
Yeah.
Organically, I don't know if you can promote that. I don't know if you can create that with Facebook invites.
Some of it's been organic. I mean, some of these dedicated nights we've had, the staff just kind of started running with it, and me and Martens are like, listen, this is great. Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah.
That's something he taught me very well. He's like, those 20 things you're doing, try and do 10, and then actually get down to those 5, and you're going to get them done. But that's something I've learned from Martens really well about just business practices, and not to overextend yourself. I mean, it's easy to say yes to a lot of things, and but it's a lot easier organically when you have a crew that is kind of putting things together, and just I mean, the Scraps KC thing was something for Monday night. The arts and crafts thing. That's something you kind of just threw out there after a couple of our bartenders already started doing something that night. So,
but that community piece, I think it really isn't something you can shove a square peg into a round hole on. It kind of has to happen naturally and organically.
I
agree. That's one of the things that I think that any craft brewery taproom our size needs to kind of understand, and we've started to understand, is that there's this third place concept, right? So you have 3 places. You have your work, you have your home, and there's this third place. And so I won't go on too long of a rant about this, but I'm really passionate about this. This is really well done in Europe. You see beer gardens in Germany, you see pubs in England, you see like cafes in France. There's just and historically throughout our humanity, there's always been this place where people just go to gather. They're not working there. They're not bringing their home life there. They may not be with their significant others. They might be, but the point is to just show up and just kind of be, and you're just there. And starting to see that in craft brewery tap rooms and in other places too. There are bars that are executing this as well. Yeah. I think that's something that, especially in 2026 with social media and work from home, where we're now combining the first and second place of you're working where you live. I think this third place idea is more important than ever. And I'm confident that it's not just important, but I think there's this fundamental need that people have to have a space where it's just not work or home.
Where we're filming this and recording this is the backyard of Border. And I think that is one of the more hidden gems to the Crossroads, but also to 100% this place. Like, man, like I've had my kids out here. I had my puppy got reunited with its litter mate out here. Did you hear this?
I didn't know that.
All right. So it was a Sunday afternoon, and Poppy, my daughter, her and I were like having a daddy-daughter day, like goofing around in the city. She wanted to go to the river and throw things in the river, and then she's like, "We need to go to your work. I want a Sprite." And I was like, "Hey, don't threaten me with a good time." Right? So me and her come down here. She gets a Sprite. I got an adult Sprite. And this lady walks in with a giant white dog. Looks just like our dog, right? And I'm like, "My God, look at that dog." And Poppy's like, "That looks like Cub. That looks like ours." So this lady and I start talking. We come outside because I'm like, "Hey, we have a backyard here." And she's like, "You do?" I was like, "Yeah, go and let the dog out back." And Poppy wanted to go run around with her. And she's like, "Is it okay?" I was like, "No, this dog is the same size as our dog." And so then we start talking, and I said, "Yeah, we got ours from the Missouri Great Pyrenees Rescue." And she goes, "You got it from Linda?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know Linda?" Whoa. She's like, "That's where I got my dog from." And I was like, "How old is your dog?" And she goes, "What's your dog's name?" And I said the age and the name, and she goes, "This is his litter mate." And so I called my wife, and I'm like, "You're not going to believe this.
Oh, that's cool.
Get your pants on. I'm coming to get you." Because we live a mile away. So I ran home. We got Cub. We brought him down, and him and that dog, and I can't remember the dog's name for the life of me, like stopped, smelled each other, and then they ran around back here for a good 30 minutes playing with each other.
Oh, that's so funny.
I love that.
Border Brewing Company connecting all species.
Bringing all of us bastards together,
How funny.
God, that's great.
But so the community thing is definitely something that's noticeable. I mean, I think it's like noticeable by even, it's really easy to be in the middle of it and be like, "Oh yeah, look at this community." But you're hearing people, I think, talk about like, yeah, Border's really like knocking out of the park. Like, but the get-togethers, but also the beer, which then in turn leads to the big thing that you got started on. Is it the very end of last year, the very beginning of this year, the distribution aspect? That's 11 years in the making, or were you doing a little bit of distribution, kind of self-distributing, I guess?
That's right. Yeah, we started self-distributing 2 or 3 years ago, bought a white Ford van and just bootstrapped it, and had about 20 solid accounts, I would say, mostly in the Crossroads and kind of downtown area, River Market. It just got to a point where it was like, we're going to have to either hire a sales rep, find a warehouse space, scale this thing, get some investment money, like all this stuff. Or why don't we go find somebody who does this for a job? And they've been doing it for a while and they do it well, and they're focused on craft beer. And we have a really, I think, great partner in North Kansas City Beverage on that so far things have been going well.
They've been great. Those guys have been great.
Because you were spearheading a lot of that, right? Weren't you doing a lot of the
I mean, we were taking Eric were both like kind of split it. I was enjoying going to these counts, connecting to these people and just kind of seeing
he just went and did sales and delivery and pickup and brewing the beer and samples.
It was also a good learning experience
and invoices. It's a lot of work. It was a lot of work,
but it's a good way to grow, and it's good because when you get with a distributor, there's things that some breweries just don't understand that you need to do as a brewery to kind of keep them happy and not even keep them happy. Just make it make sense. More sense for them.
More relationships.
Yes.
And it's just a different business model. And we're understanding that we're not the high volume thing that's going to make a distributor a lot of money, but we have a place. And for us, the goal is always to bring people into the tap room. That's what we want. So it's exposure for us more than anything. And it's just getting our name out there and getting some beers that we have that I think are truly unique that just most people in Kansas City still have not heard of. So
right. They have not.
It's a marketing play more than anything.
What beers do you think he's talking about, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, he's talking about, first off, we're the only ones that have a year-round fruited beer in the city. You know, Strawberry Blonde and Lima Fresca are like just kind of stand on their own. And then you get out there, and then, you know, Shifty, our double IPA, just took off. So there's things you never know, you know, about. We always knew that Strawberry and Lima were going to do well. Right. Lima's going to sell more as the summer goes along.
Yeah.
But there's beers that you just don't anticipate that you get popular.
There was a guy that was in last night. We were out of the red, which is a very rare occurrence. And he goes
back tomorrow.
He goes, that's what I really wanted. And I actually got him on the Shifty, because I feel like flavor-wise, palate-wise, those two beers are pretty similar.
The most similar,
you know
probably.
what I mean? Like they're like cousins, if you will, right? And so I gave him a sample of that, and he's like, "This is great. I didn't think I was going to like it, because I'm not really an IPA guy, let alone a double IPA guy." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a little, it's deceiving. It's smooth, it's crisp, it's clean. It's also dangerous.
It's like the caramel on the back end. I think it's just it's kind of the old double IPAs that you used to see. You don't really see those.
Yeah, and balanced. I think.
I think so.
And the thing from day one that I've been about is, I mean, the name Border came from being on the border between cheap commoditized commercial beer and snooty, pretentious craft beer, right? Yeah. So we don't want to be snooty, pretentious, turning our nose up at people. We know we're not going to be cheap because we're small and we, just can't compete on scale. But, and so the idea was that like every beer that goes out has some kind of balance where if we're doing an IPA, it's not outrageous. And I love when people say, I don't like IPAs, and then we change their mind. Yeah. I mean, that's so fun, or any kind of beer. And
I agree.
So those are the experiences that I kind of live for and what we built the business around. And even in our lineup, it's like, we'll look at it regularly when we're looking ahead for what new beers we're going to put out. And it's like, what are we missing here?
Yep.
Who's the customer that comes in and goes, there's not something for me. And that's where we start pretty much every time.
And I love that.
Not like, what do I want to brew?
Right.
Or this would be fun. I mean, we have those conversations.
Like blue hibiscus, bok choy. Like,
I mean, there might be a,
and that's what test batch Thursday is for.
Yeah.
And then we can do, what's the one this week?
The Italian beef lager.
Yeah,
Italian beef lager. Let's get weird.
Test batch Thursday. My test batch Thursday was the Rabbittville hard root beer, and I think that
people loved it.
People got to put ice in it though. That's how the balance is. You got to put ice in it. I agree,
but people loved it.
Yeah, and then there was also the. I know it's not hot dog flavored water, but the week before was it chili dog?
Chili dog.
It wasn't hot dog flavored water. It was actual hot dog water.
It's actually hot. Yeah.
We're going all natural, baby.
Yeah. You did boil up.
But that's what I love about Test Batch Thursday is that it gives us the opportunity to be experimental and F around and just try something.
Do you think that kind of harkens back to the early days when you'd be like, new beer alert, and you put that out there and everyone would come check it out, and that kind of after the pandemic I think kind of fell off, right?
Yeah, and maybe even a little before, just as there became more breweries and people got used to it and started to find their favorites. And just rough numbers, when we opened in 2015 there were about 2,500 breweries. Right now that number is around 10,000. So in a span, and
but craft brewing is going down.
We lost a few more breweries than we gained last year, not by a lot. It's still around that number, and it was at that number a couple years ago. So in about 8 or 10 years, that number 4x'd just the number of breweries, and most of them were our size. So and in Kansas City, we were behind the curve. So I would say we went from 5 or 6 to 40 or 50, depending on where you draw the metro area. Yeah. So some of that was just kind of the market getting closer to saturation, I think. But yeah, people, we saw that people stopped caring about like, hey, we have a new beer release. It's like, so does everybody else. There's 40 breweries, each releasing a beer every week. And, so it just wasn't enough in terms of marketing to break through and be seen.
Yeah.
So then we started getting creative with events, and we're always trying to, see what we can do to break through.
I mean, it was February warm, even though it's categorized as February freeze, but you were able to get how many breweries out back here?
There's 8 of us, or 8 breweries out here, including us, makes it 9.
Yeah.
And that thing kind of just one of those things that just, there
was a second
Derek
annual,
Gray. I gotta say something. Derek Gray. We unfortunately lost a really good guy. 4 or 5 months ago. But he just kind of bootstrapped that thing together, and me and Martens didn't really have time to, and he just got it going. And now it's just one of those things that has turned into, an every year thing now. People keep asking us about it. They're like, are you going to get it bigger? Is it going to be bigger? And we're also like, it's in February, guys. Like, it's bound to be 0 below one day. So
we got so lucky. We were in shorts that day. Yeah.
And the fact that it's small is one of the things that people appreciate about it. Yes, I think we capped it at 100 tickets, 90 or 100 tickets, because we can't fit a whole lot more than that. And we talked about kind of expanding it. But the thing is, like, there's lots of big beer festivals out there.
Yes. Yeah.
And back to that community thing, like, you get here, and if you bought a ticket and you didn't know anybody, by the time you left, you made some new friends. I mean, it's just that when there's that kind of community and you have that kind of critical mass where there's this friendliness, and it's acceptance of like everybody that's here. It was a really cool vibe and feeling. From that
I think so too. It's
hard to replicate when you are. I'm not going to call out any other beer festivals because they're all different. This is just one that I think had a special thing of having that community piece.
And again, it goes back to that kind of what I've seen and witnessed myself being here. Like, strangers will come in. I mean, strangers being like out of towners, or even people from KC that had never been in before, and they just seem to find themselves like kind of gravitating to the group around the bar and hanging out and feeling like, oh yeah, come on over. Now there's room over here. Hey, there's a couple seats over here. Grab us, sit down. It's I don't know if that was. There's no handbook here that you handed us when we got started that said, be kind. But I think and that's like a universal thing, but it just,
well, or the regulars. I mean, people that are coming in regularly once or twice a week, we didn't hand them a handbook, but when they're like, I heard you were talking about barbecue. Here's the spot I just went to. I mean, it's like, it's just everybody. And it's kind of this thing that's just been pervasive. It's just trickled out to everybody.
They make friends, I feel like I've seen regulars just sell them people on the subscription or, our membership and, and also we try to, we have that big bar, and there's something that me and Martens are always wanted to be, our bartenders to be personable.
Yeah.
I no knock on any brewery, but I've been to breweries when I feel like they don't treat some people as good as others. And I don't want anybody walking that door and feel like this is home for them. Like, I don't want that to happen.
I think that's one of the worst feelings is when you go out to a restaurant or a bar or establishment and you're going to give them your money and you just feel like, I think they want me to leave.
An outsider.
Yeah. I don't think they want me here. Like,
and everybody's different. There's some breweries that don't have big bars and they want you to gather.
I'm just saying, like, overall, when you go to a place and it's a hospitality business and the hospitality sucks, you're just kind of like,
It's hard right now. I mean, it's, I think the pandemic hit that really hard where a lot of people that were in the service industry were doing a really, really tough job. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think a lot of people got burnout, to be honest, for understandable reasons. But right now, that hospitality, that customer service, and just being friendly, I think, is more valuable than ever. And when we built this new space out, that was my big point, was like, I want a big ass long bar.
Yeah.
Like, I want a ton of bar seating, as much as we can squeeze into the space, because those conversations that happen naturally at a bar are different than what happen at tables when you grab your beer and go to your own table. Right. It's a different experience. Like, what's the likelihood you're going to talk to someone at a different table? But if you're at the corner of a bar, especially the corner of the bar, you end up talking to somebody a lot more frequently. And I love seeing those interactions and those collisions that people have. So that's been really fun to see.
It's been great.
Where do you think the next 11 years will take you for Border?
I don't know where the next 11 months or 11 days are going to be. Yeah. We got the World Cup coming. I don't even know what that's going to look like.
I feel like we're getting inundated with this whole, like, look, we're talking over 500,000 people. And then also in the same breath, it's like, I don't know if it's going to happen like that. And so I don't know.
Nobody knows.
That's the thing, is I don't know if we really know.
The draft kind of scared people a little bit too, but this is not the draft. I mean, obviously this is way bigger than, we'll see. I mean, we've luckily we have a couple bartenders I'm bringing out of retirement just in case we need them.
Right.
But
I think we'll be prepared for whatever happens. It's impossible to know exactly what's going to come about. Always looking at as much information as we can get, but you get different stories from different people and different media outlets. So just be prepared is kind of about the only mantra we can have at this moment. I think.
I know. I think so.
I think we just I say we. You just keep making good beer because I'm not making the beer. I'm drinking it. I'm selling it.
You made the hard root beer, so don't sell yourself.
Ideas. I'm pitching ideas. You know, I got Rabbitville root beer. I got Possum Trot Stout, and eventually we'll bring back Gully Town IPA. We'll have a whole Kansas City series.
Love it.
Love hearing that.
Gentlemen, cheers. You're
cheers, guys. I have nothing.
Cheers.
I'll just bust one of these off. How about that?
Yeah. Speaking of which, Backyard Lager, that's the easy, crushable, get a hold of beer right there.
Yes,
if anybody's like, I don't really like craft beer.
That's the one that, a quick story on that one. One of my favorites is in terms of turning someone on to craft beer for the first time. There was a couple that came in and they'd had a few. We'll just say that. And, the guy orders something off the menu and the woman says, I'll just have a Bud Light, and which this happens. Yes. Right. And we say, look, we don't have that. Well, we brew everything right back here. And I thought she'd find an alternative or we'd recommend something to her, but instead she turns to her husband or significant other and just goes, why the fuck did you bring me here? And so, after a little time, we're like, why don't you try a backyard lager? We'll start with that. This is the closest thing. Yeah. And she's like, this is not too bad. And she had a couple more. And by the time she left, she was like, that beer is awesome. This is one of my favorite places. I'm so glad. And so those are the things that those are the stories I absolutely love because I think a lot of it just is exposure. People get used to doing the same thing over and over. And that was my experience with craft beer was, in college, I was drinking Natty Light and whatever the cheapest 30 pack you could get at the liquor store was.
Schlitz.
And somebody introduced Boulevard Wheat to me and I was like, this is delicious. And I was like, it costs how much? I'm never buying that. And so, and over time, my palate and my taste changed, but I think just getting people exposed to something and getting them to understand like beer can taste like this also. Yes. Yeah. Is
beer flavored beer.
Yeah. Beer flavored beer. Yeah. And the Backyard Lager is our perfect gateway beer for that.
Yeah. And great price.
Not bad.
That great price. So
it's not bad. It's not bad. So
what's your favorite, Mark, as we wrap things up?
I mean, I don't know. I always kind of go back to IPAs always, you know, Stay Classy is probably one I've been drinking more. It's a San Diego style IPA, Pilsner malt, Nectron hops, and
you drink your own stuff then.
So yeah, I drink a lot. I'm not gonna. There's a couple things I keep in my fridge, and let's just say Border's always one of them.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good answer. Good answer. Thanks once again, guys, for hopping on Kansas City with Jason Nivens. Appreciate you as always. And I know that I'm incredibly biased when it comes to Border Brewing since I work there pretty much Tuesdays and Thursday nights. In fact, final Thursdays. But I digress. Since I see the regulars come in quite regularly, I also see a lot of folks that come in town to Kansas City, and whether it's visiting family, friends, a convention, and they go bouncing around through the Crossroads, and they come in for a one and done situation at Border, and then they leave, but then they come back because they like the vibes. The vibes are there, man, and it's a good spot to hang out in. One of the things I also am a huge nerd about is newspapers.com and addresses, whether I'm doing real estate or like this instance here with Border, looking up an address for an old building in Kansas City. So I looked up 512 East 18th Street, which is the address of Border, right? And there's a handful of articles I found. These are the three that mostly stood out for me. First one's from 1886, where J.M. Nye, see right there, built a barn 40 feet by 75 feet for $1,000. That's all it cost back in the day to build a barn. $1,000, one story right there. Look at that, $1,000. I mean, the rates have gone up, man. They really have. They built some new like condos right around the corner. Those are going for nearly $1 million. That's wild. And there's this article right here. J.O. Kraft held by police. Wife sends him to station and will take him to sanitarium. J.O. Kraft, for many years a dealer in restaurants, was taken from his home at 512 East 18th Street to the Walnut Street station last night for safekeeping. His wife said that he was mentally unbalanced. At the station, the man appeared rational and gave a good account of himself, but he was confined alone for fear of his injuring other prisoners. Mrs. Kraft said he threatened to jump out of the window and that she would have him sent to the Grandview Sanitarium in Kansas City, Kansas this morning. If you're married, you know exactly how this went down. You're squabbling, maybe you've been drinking, possibly some whiskey, who knows, and you just get to a point where you're like, I'll jump out this goddamn window.
And finally, it's pretty wild how we used to write in the newspapers 100 plus years ago. This one's from 1922. Dice and whiskey found. 15 Negroes are fined. 15 Negro men and women were arrested in a raid at 512 East 18th Street yesterday. Dice, some quote-unquote small change, and a small quantity of corn whiskey were found in the room. Thurman Hammond, the owner, was fined $200, and the frequenters, $5 each in the Southside Court. Okay. Appreciate y'all tuning in today. Thanks as always to super producer Parker Johnson, whom, of course, I cannot do this without. Also, who should we chat with next, man? What's what I'm looking for? KCJNmedia@gmail.com is the email address for us. KCJNmedia@gmail.com. Have a good one. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to Kansas City with Jason Nivens. Hey, hit that like button, subscribe, share, do what you gotta do. Big thanks to the Border Brewing guys, Eric and Mark. Thanks for stopping in. We'll catch you next time.